Happy birthday, Garfield! Yay! 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 Yeah! I'm at school today after having English as my last period. So obviously none of you are gonna know why that's bad because it's English. Yay! Yeah! I have an English teacher who, well, he's interesting. We'll go with that. So when I came home after a very long bus trip to find that my mum had set up an entire party for Garfield because she knows that it's my special interest and that it matters a lot to me, I almost cried. So we're having lasagna for dinner, which is going to be awesome. I am doing a little presentation, which is what this video is about. I'm just going to kind of film it and then just going to post the footage. I don't really want to edit it too much. To the 5 viewers who watch these, enjoy. Did not pick a pimple. I did not pick a pimple. I also have this beanie, which my super awesome nana made me. It is the best beanie to ever exist, and you can't tell me otherwise. I should say, like, a warning for the PowerPoint presentation. There's a lot of I'm sorry Jill on the subreddit, which is horror art, so like extreme. A lot of the information that I'm going to say is also from the video What the Internet Did to Garfield, which is a really good video. I'm working on my vintage Garfield collection. So I got this one from an op shop. This one. I have 2 of these. The other one's downstairs in a party hat. A Garfield blanket that I plan to wear on my shoulders for the actual thing.
Garfield's 47th birthday, which is the 19th. That says the 19th, actually.
What?
That says the 19th.
We're 10 days over
Shut
June.
up! It says 19. 19th of June 1978, so obviously that's today for us, and in America it's tomorrow.
Love those transitions.
Clarification! Garfield refers to the classic orange cat, not the actor Andrew Garfield.
Fair enough.
Easy mix-up, so I figured I should clarify. It's not like I'm obsessed with one of them or something.
Is that Andrew Garfield?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that's better.
Once.
That's better. The man, the myth, the legend. Jim Davis. At the ripe age of 79, Jim Davis still loves Garfield. Who doesn't? Jim describes himself as more of a writer than an artist when it comes to Garfield, especially in modern days when Jim writes the jokes and a team of people trained to mimic his style do the art. The team was taught by Jim to continue the legacy of the orange cat even after his passing. Not the cat, Jim's. One of the main missions of Garfield was to make it funny and relatable for multiple generations and cultures, which has come to life, and Jim often expresses his gratitude and amazement at how big Garfield has become. I mean, seriously, that's a big cat.
Does that say something, Garfield?
The superior Garfield design down the bottom there, because the creation, God's greatest gift.
I think that this was about me.
Jim Davis's original newspaper comic was one titled Norm Ant, but it never really took off. Editors told him the humour was good, but no one relates to ants, except ants. They can't read. So, what's the next most relatable things? Cats. In 1978, there were popular dogs in comics like Peanuts, Snoopy, but no cats. Jim had grown up with 25 cats on his family's farm, so he knew their personalities well. To match the lazy, foodie says cat, Jim wanted someone the readers could relate to. So the plain, average John Arbuckle was born. Originally, the comic was going to focus on John himself, but eventually the true star became clear. So this is the original that was first put in the newspaper,
Wow.
and then there was a changed version specifically for this. No, Garfield, no! Garfield is of course a newspaper comic, or at least originally. The way the syndicates work, which are newspaper comics, typically work is they offer newspapers a new strip on a test basis, and after a few months for free, the newspapers can decide whether to keep it or not. Garfield's biggest, that is not a spelling mistake. There are no spelling mistakes in this PowerPoint whatsoever.
Wow.
the end of the trimester, all the newspapers that Garfield had cancelled the comic. I mean, seriously, who would even dare? But the moment it was gone, all the newspaper agencies received angry letters from fans to bring him back. So he lives on!
Yes.
And this is a specific comic that was just released in the Sun Times. Because it's like, thanks for having me back, Chicago. Cats and dogs. In the 80s, Jim Davis wanted Garfield's design to become anthropomorphic, standing on his hind legs. He was working on Garfield's first special at Bill Miller's studio in Los Angeles, but couldn't get the design right. It happened that next door was Charles Schultz, the creator of the Peanuts. He came in after hearing Jim's issue and simply drew over the Garfield design, fixing it to stand naturally. What a crossover!
That is pretty cool.
It's gotta be one of those Mondays. The name behind the feline. Despite what Google would like to believe, I mean, where'd they get the name Victor Jr.? Who is that? Who is he? Is he in the room with us? Please. Garfield, the cat's name, is from Jim Davis's grandfather, James A. Garfield Davis, who was named after the president.
Wow. Which president?
The one with the same name as that. So these are cameos and mentions in different media. We got The Simpsons, top left. This one's just a random show. We got Garfield costume and then the better Garfield costume. That's the Elijah Wood. When will we wear wigs with a Garfield phone in some random old show. And then that one, you got Garfield Fever in that show. Then this side is just entirely dedicated to Family Guy cuts because Peter Griffin, the main guy in it, is really into Garfield. So you can see he gets in this car. I like this clip here. The clip is that he gets in the car and it's like, he goes, "Big Garfield fan, huh?" He's like, "Yeah, me too. Maybe not this big." And she goes, "Yeah, people say I'm obsessed, but I think I'm pretty normal." And he goes, "You know, we're getting off to a rough start, but I think I like you now." Like, something like that.
I love it.
What happened to Lyman? Dad, I know you're going to
What
read the
happened to
text, so
Lyman?
you should always just look at those so I can read it out.
Okay.
Lyman was John Arbuckle's roommate in the original comics and Odie's original owner. As the series continued, he was seen less and less and eventually left the comic altogether, leaving Odie as John's dog. The strange thing is, it's never explained where he went. Now, realistically, Lyman was removed from the comic, so John would have more space to talk, but in the storyline, where did he go?
Boy, it's a mystery.
No, it's not.
Oh.
Theory 1. John is
What?
a psychopathic murderer. After not seeing Lyman since his disappearance in 1983, he appears once more in the Garfield's Spooky Scavenger Hunt, a video game from 2002. If you go to the basement of the haunted version of John's house, you will see tortured Lyman chained up to the wall. Is he missing his middle fingers? It's hard to tell.
What?
Not only that, but upon further exploration, Lyman's severed head is found in an oven. It is said that John did this. In addition, in a joking edition in a Garfield article for a magazine, Jim Davis mentions 10 places where Lyman could be, one of which the option simply read, "Don't check John's basement." Theory 2, monster hunting. In the Garfield show, a show I personally do not like, for the representation of Garfield in it, he talks! Garfield does not talk! You see, when John understands him, that is through physical actions. He knows what he's saying because he can see it. He cannot hear Garfield. For example, in one of the comments, he says something. Garfield has a witty answer, and he goes, "I have the instinct feeling I've been zinged," because he can't hear Garfield. So in that show, it's done. Anyway, there is an episode titled Long Lost Lyman. In the 2-part episode, we learned that Lyman went looking for the Xanadu to take a picture of it. He does photography. That was back in the 80s in the show. He left Odie with John and never came back. Later in the show, or the episode, the group find Lyman trapped by the Xanadu, free him, and reunite him with Odie. Or something like that. I tried to watch the episode and piece it together, but it's very confusing.
It's a weird show.
Now you can tell that this is a bit of a scary bit because of the colour treatment.
Oh boy.
October 22nd, 2013. Comic is uploaded to the internet. The comic is eerie makes you feel uneasy. As you watch John waking late to find that the house, everything around him has been covered in stripes and a strange orangey glow. He goes downstairs. On the kitchen wall, his cat's swollen head spreads out, covering every surface. Garfield says, "Sorry, John." As John realizes both himself and everything around him has been ingested by the feline. I'm so hungry.
What?
Horrorfield. Over the next few years, more and more disturbing Garfield comics were born. One of the most notable is the 5-drawing collection by horror Instagram artist Webb Burke. Love that guy. Credit artists! Yeah! Each drawing showed Garfield in a different form, anywhere from sharp centipede-like creatures to lumps of flesh, all
Ew.
separately hunting John. Each of the forms were loved by the internet, of course, and birthed all sorts of horror recreations, each one scarier than the last. So it's kind of like all the horror art is based off these versions of Garfield that Burke created, and that they're all their own artist interpretations. After such popularity, the I'm Sorry John subreddit was born. You guys know what a subreddit is?
I do.
Just double checking. In all the artworks shown, John is hiding, weak and small, sometimes arms, with captions like, "Bullets don't work, John." All the artists influenced by Webb Burke's collection became increasingly horrifying, with a horrifying level of detail. Now I'm going to put up some scary artworks. This is a warning,
Please.
because they're very gross. You should still pee. Some balls. There you go.
Ooh.
John, I can smell you. I no longer require eyes, John, which is a reference to some horror movie that I haven't seen, but in the video a lot of this information is from. That's one of the original drawings by Webb. You can tell by the signature. And then that one also is one. Yeah.
John, I can smell you.
Defeat. John could never defeat the creatures. He is never shown in a position of power. Again and again, he faces creatures beyond belief. Evil that only God himself could heal. You saw those artworks. That was until The Forgiveness of John by Jazz Drawings on Instagram. This artwork is so fundamental to this specific patch of internet lore that it's pinned on the subreddit. It's like on the thing when you open it up. Finally, after all the horrors John was put through, he rose above, depicted in a holy sense, destroying the creatures for the final time.
Yeah, it's on. Is this him?
Yeah, that's it pinned on the subreddit. If you look closely, this is traditional art.
Wow.
This isn't
really?
digital. Because you look really close and you go, "Oh wow, that's white pen." Like, I'm pretty sure at least.
Gee, that's awesome.
But like, hello? Like, wow. Yeah. Oh. Is Garfield evil? All this pins Garfield to be some giant evil thing, tormenting John for all eternity. You might be thinking, but Garfield is a cat. He isn't evil. Well, dear listeners, dear mum and dad, in most Garfield comics, John, the character Jim Davis himself calls plain and average, is the butt of the jokes. Garfield constantly torments him just for a cheap laugh, the feline seemingly having a hold over John in the official comics themselves. It's always, "Look at John," and never, "How is John?" Garfield minus Garfield. Once again, we plunge into the deep depths of subreddits and find r/Garfield minus Garfield, a subreddit dedicated to editing out Garfield from the comics, leaving a depressed, lonely man, John. Although the trend was originally created for laughs, it soon revealed John's deep isolation from the world around him. I'm gonna know the story of my life. My life stinks. Good morning. He's depressed. Don't laugh. And you can tell these are from different periods, not only from the dates, but also the style of art is different in these.
It's true.
Like, look at this one. This one doesn't even, like, he can't hear Garfield in this. The joke is that Garfield goes, "Ha ha ha." Look at him. Ever seen this strip? Reddit, oh Reddit, how I have mixed feelings about you. A subreddit titled r/Alzheimer's group. All members post the same Garfield comic over and over again and all pretend they've never seen it before. The strip is often changed and edited to be the same content presented differently, but the story never changes. Yes,
The
these
internet
are all,
is so weird, isn't it?
Those are all official posts from the Reddit. I didn't do those. Anyway, have you guys seen this comic before? Because I don't think
No.
I have. Yeah, no, it's so funny, right? Oh, look at that comic. Have you guys seen it? It's so weird.
That is so crazy.
Smoking! The most loved Garfield comic is a true beauty from the first Garfield book, which I have! It's called Garfield at Large, and on the cover Garfield goes, I resent that, to the word large. Anyway, this comic has spread to almost every corner of the internet, being replaced and recreated in a both funny and horrifying comic. In both funny and horrifying comics. The funny thing is, unknown to most, the comic was a 6-panel, the second half finishing the joke. So, if I cover up this bit here, that's the very well-known comic. Now where could my pipe be? Garfield! Then the unknown second half is poof. Just gives it back. See, this one will put it in his mouth because the cat just had it. So if the cat could get it, might as well just leave it. The Garfield format. The format for a Garfield comic strip is a 3-square scenario, which is scenario, setup, punchline. This is so liquid there are random Garfield generators with 3 random squares paired together. New comic. Some of them don't make sense, but some of them are pretty funny.
I like that.
Yeah. Another funny use of the Garfield format is replacing a comic's punchline with Garfield smoking a pipe or him being thrown out a window. Truly broken humour. Time to go to work. Not the official end to the comic. This year I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. This year I resolve to Garfield.
I love it.
Are you guys ready? I'm taking off the blanket for this. The 2024 movie. This is rant time, okay?
Top 5.
I'm about to get loud, okay? This movie sucks. This is how I feel about this movie, right? Specifically this top left one. Okay? Seriously, why did they bring Chris Pratt into this? I don't like Chris Pratt. That's another story. It is bad enough. Shh. It is bad enough when you combine my favourite character with a person who I really don't like. Okay? And we're gonna watch a bit of the trailer here, alright?
Oh boy.
Just wait. I'm really hoping this is the right one. Let's see reference to one of the comics. This isn't what I'm trying to.
Comes together, nothing stronger. So they build.
That's all the
He
balloons.
doesn't use an oven fork! He does not wear a bandana when he eats, okay? He doesn't apologize, okay?
Never, John.
He's self-centered.
Very
He's
mean.
a cat.
Elephant green screen
And not
effect.
to mention, he's talking.
Elephant green.
His mouth.
Eyeballs
Elephant
are
green screen
together.
effect.
That's not good.
Why his eyeballs blended? It is not a soup. It's got Hannah Waddingham. Let me talk! It's not Hannah Gassen.
And Samuel L. Jackson.
Can I please talk? This is my ranting time. You guys can go make your own PowerPoints if you want to talk about actors. His eyes are so liquided together. He does not look like that. Okay? Whipping out the blanket for this. There is no resemblance to
True.
this man and that horrible thing.
Agreed.
Not funny. Okay, this isn't the right trailer, but in one of the trailers it says, yeah, all my life I've been inside. Basically says, yeah, we know all of our comics, they're set inside, where all the jokes happen and everything. But in this comic, I'm gonna go outside and meet a relative who is not in any of the comics! We meet his mum, we meet his dad. He does not have a brother! Why are they leaving the entire thing about Garfield to create a whole new thing? It doesn't matter!
Get on your bed.
She's comforting me. Oh my gosh, and he's not looking like Garfield. He's not.
Slightly like Garfield in that one. Look at him.
Also,
Like
Odie.
a truck
What did they
driver.
do to Odie? I want to see 2D animation, okay? I want to see hand-drawn like Garfield and Friends, okay? Which, I love Garfield and Friends. I did not love this, okay? The entire movie is just a big cash grab and fully just nostalgia bait. All the adults who really like Garfield when they were younger are gonna go, oh, the Garfield movie, I can't wait to see how he's changed. Well, he's changed for the worse.
I'm never going to
Outrageous.
see that movie.
Final slide, OMG! Wow! Okay,
Oh gosh.
so these are a couple of fun facts which I didn't think would work for a whole slide. Once an entire shipment of Garfield planes were crashed out at sea, leaving them scattered across a random coastline.
That's
And
so
here you can see that there
hilarious.
was heaps, and it was this big mystery for a while. And number 2, in the 80s, the Garfield sold these like stick on a car window things where they suction on inside, and they were so popular that people would break into cars, leave wallets, and just take the Garfield. Are we serious? That's amazing. Another thing is, they actually took that Garfield off the shelves. Rather than providing more and getting heaps of money from it, they instead took it off and added it back a few years later when the craze was over. So Garfield can be a continuing thing, rather than constantly getting really popular and then just disappearing forever like lots of things do these days. So he has fully planned out how he's going to keep Garfield alive. Another thing is, I don't know if I mentioned it, but Jim Davis had he went to college both for arts but also a business degree, so he knows how to keep the brand alive.
Oh.
And now over here we have all the collectible items, well not all of them. So one of the things is I want to have like a big collection of the vintage toys. I especially like this big one here. I really like that one. Garfield clock, and as it ticks, the eyes and tail both swings. This one is a one where Garfield is hugging Pookie Bear because it's adorable. Garfield backpack, that's a light switch. You move Garfield up and down, it's like it's cool. I love that. This one, I want an official, what are they called? The animation clean?
So,
Thank you, I want an official animation cell. There's a cell! Ha! Roll up. This one's an official Pookie Bear plushie that you can get. There's
nice.
2 versions, that one which I like because it somehow looks like the teddy bear he would have, but there's another version that looks more specifically like the drawn teddy bear. I like that one. Garfield phone, that one's just a given, you guys know that. This one's a VHS tape of Garfield and Friends, which would be so cool. And then this one here, of course, is a Garfield fish tank.
Of course it is.
Why not?